Hi everyone, this video is for lesson 16 in which we will be solving for unknown angles using the relationships in lesson 15. So for this, we need to just name the relationship as complementary, a linear pair, vertical, or adjacent. Remember, if they are a linear pair, they are automatically going to sum to 180 and be supplementary. Okay, so let's start. We can look here for number one, and we have two angles that are on a straight line. These angles then are a linear pair. So here we have a linear pair. So that's our sum to 180. Okay. Here we have two angles that are next to each other, but they don't form a straight line, and they don't add to 90, so they're not complementary. So here these angles are just considered adjacent angles. They're just next to each other. Number three, here we see this right angle symbol. So that means that these two angles do sum to 90 degrees. If they sum to 90 degrees, then they are complementary. So we have here that these angles are complementary, and that's your 90 degrees that they sum to. And now it could be a little tricky, right? Because it looks like we have a bunch of angles and some straight lines, but we're really only focusing on angle A and then angle B. And angle A and angle B are formed by this line here and this line here. So angle A and angle B are vertical angles. They're opposite each other, therefore they are equal. This is vertical angles, and they are equal. Angle A and angle B would be equal in measure. And this is basically what we're going to do throughout this lesson. We're going to take a look at a diagram. We're going to decide what's their relationship, how can we write an equation, and how can we then go ahead and solve for a missing angle or an unknown angle. So let's take a look at number one. We're going to solve for B and provide a reason. Okay, so we take a look at this diagram, and we should be thinking I see angles that are opposite each other formed by straight lines. That means that they're equal because they are vertical angles. So here, B would equal 43. Your reason? Vertical angles are equal. And remember, this is a video, so I am talking a tad bit faster than I would in class. So you could go ahead and pause if you feel that I'm going too fast. Okay, now we have these angles here, and I see that they all meet at this point right here. And if I go from one angle all the way around to the other, these angles would sum to 360 because they're angles that meet at a point. So first and foremost, if they sum to 360, I would then have an equation, and my equation would be that 209 plus 96 plus b equals 360. And then I could go ahead and I can solve, right? I can combine like terms. So 209 and 96 is 305. Bring down my b and bring down my 360. And now I can subtract 305 from both sides. Maybe I'll do it like this, right? I can subtract 305, subtract 305 from the other side. Here, my line. Now I bring down my b, and b is equal to 360 minus 305, which is just 55. So b is 55, and my reason, well, I had that 360 relationship because I had here angles that meet at a point sum to 360. That was for number two. Go on to number three. Here we have B and 50. Again, I see a straight line. There are two on the line, so these are a linear pair. That means that they sum to 180. So I know that B must then be, well, we can write an equation. B plus 50 equals 180. If I subtract 50 from both sides, I get that B is 130. Reason? Linear pair or supplementary. Okay, sum to 180. Okay, number 4, I see this right angle symbol. That means that these are complementary angles and they sum to 90 degrees. So my equation could be B plus 63 equals 90. If I subtract 63 from both sides, I get 27. So B is 27. And the reason is that complementary angles sum to 90 degrees. They add to 90 degrees. Number 5, what do we have here? Well, it looks like number 5, even though this line goes through and this line goes through, we're really just focusing on these two angles, which have this box with it, which means that they are complementary as well. So we're going to follow the complementary relationship here. And again, complementary angles, know that your relationship with 90. So I know that B plus 29 equals 90. Subtract 29 from both sides, and we have B is 71. Okay, number 6, again, looks like it could be angles at a point, but I'm really just focusing on these two angles here, which are formed by this straight line and this straight line. So this is a prime example of vertical angles. So we know vertical angles are equal, so whatever B is, so is this. So it looks like B is then 73. Reason vertical angles are equal. All right. And now let's move on to number 7. These are just going to get a tad bit harder because now instead of just a single variable representing an angle, we have an expression, but it's the same. So for these, I'm going to create help you find the relationship, create the equation, and then give you the answer. And again, with the algebra, if you have any issues, please reach out to us and we can help you with that. Okay, so for this here, we have this straight line and these two angles are adjacent on that straight line. So this is a linear pair. This is your 180 relationship. So that means that this angle plus this angle must equal up to 180. So we have 3x plus 18 plus 93 equals 180. And remember for this, you want to go ahead, draw your line down the middle, combine like terms. And then solve from there. So if we did that, if I walk through this with you, if we combine like terms, we have 18 and 93, which is 111. Bring down our 3x equals 180. And you want to get the 3x by itself, so we're going to subtract 111 from both sides. So now we have that 3x. This cancels, equals 69. We go ahead and divide by 3 now to get x by itself. And we find that x is equal to 23. Now for all of these, you could go ahead and plug your substitution for x back in and solve, but that's not necessary for these. But this is what we're expecting to see for all of these. So for number 7, we have x is 23. For number 8, we are focusing on these angles, which I can clearly see are opposite each other and formed by two straight intersecting lines. That means that they're vertical angles, so they're equal to each other. So I know that 2 plus 3x is equal to 62. All right, for this one, I would just subtract 2 from both sides, and then I would have that 3x equals 60. Up here, 3x equals 60, because our 2's cancel. 62 minus 2 is 60. I divide by 3, and then x is going to be 20. And there we have number 8. All right, moving on to number 9. Here we have a prime example of angles that meet at a point. So if I go from 1 all the way around, these should add up to 360. So the equation I'm going to start with is x minus 24, this angle up here, plus 29 plus 296 equals 360. Everything underneath this circle must sum to 360. When we combine like terms, we get negative 24 plus 29 plus 296 is 301. We have x plus 301 equals 360. Remember, when solving equations, we draw our line right down the middle. So now we're going to subtract 301 from both sides. And we get that x is equal to 59. All right, number 10. So number 10, I see a right angle symbol, but I also see this straight line. So I'm just going to stick with angles that form a straight line, sum to 180. I have my 90 here. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 up and set it equal to 180. So we have 6x plus 2 plus 40 plus 90 equals 180. Right, if we go ahead and if we combine like terms for this, we get 6x plus, so it's 42 plus 90 is 132 equals 180. You want to get x by itself, so we're going to subtract 132 from both sides. And then we get that 6x is equal to 48, because 180 minus 132 is 48. We then divide by 6. And x is equal to 8 for number 10. So we really, again, are following just the same protocol, figuring out what our relationship is, how we can come up with an equation, and then go ahead and solve. Okay, number 11, 3 angles that are all on a straight angle or form a straight angle. That means that they are going to sum to 180. So this is interesting, right? But it's nothing different. We have then x plus x plus x equals 180. We'll combine like terms and you have 3x equals 180. You want to get x by itself, so divide by 3. And x equals 60. And then finally, number 12, this right angle symbol. So these two are going to add to 90. So we have x plus 2x equals 90. So we have 3x equals 90. Again, divide by 3. So we are going to end up with x equals 30. Okay. So from what you want to be able to take away from this lesson is, yes, the algebra aspect is important in terms of solving, but you want to be able to find and form those relationships, create equations, and then solve those equations. Please reach out with any questions, email us, comment on the Google Classroom, and don't forget that there is a practice to go along with this lesson.